Yeah, 1 2 1 2.
Hey yo, AC.
1 2 1 2. Mic check. Hey, can y'all hear me out there? Hey. Against all odds. 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 Against all odds.
All right, good morning, and it is Saturday morning with the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Obviously, we are your weekday fix for everything NFL news and rumors, and of course, your Detroit Lions. Man, we got a great one for you guys today. But before we get started, do us a quick favor. If you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love to have you guys a part of the Rockhound Detroit Lions, and of course, the Rockhound Podcast Network. If you want honest and realistic content, this is your place to be. Liking the stream, obviously, this morning will help us out big time. But today, we have a special guest joining the show. He is what they call the honest realtor, the father of a dominant defensive end named Nic Scourton, hailing from Tempson, Texas, by the way of Texas A&M Aggies, where Mr. Scourton himself, Nic, led the SEC in tackles for loss with 14 in 2024 and 5 sacks. The sack leader in 2023 for the Big Ten, now expecting to be drafted in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. I would love to welcome in here Mr. Nic Scourton. And let's get this show rocking and rolling. Here we go. Good morning, Mr. Scourton, man. I can't thank you enough for joining us today. I hope your morning's going as well as mine. And
Yes,
thanks for being here, man. Tell us a little bit about you, and let's get rolling.
Nic Scourton, aka the Honest Realtor, the son of the most dominant edge in the 2025 draft. I'm just happy to be here, and I'm so blessed to be just connected to this kid. He's a better man than he is a football player, if you can believe that.
Well, after the conversations that we had at the Combine, I mean, you wouldn't even have to sell me. I mean, just everything that you were explaining about where Nic has been, what he's gone through, where he is today. I mean, I couldn't think of a better prospect, right? For my own selfish reasons to be a Detroit Lion, but I'm more hopeful that Nic just lands where he needs to be, what's right for him, right?
Yes, sir.
So I want to walk through a player profile, I guess, to kind of get us started. And I've watched countless games of Texas A&M, obviously looking at a few prospects.
Sir.
But number 11, man, what a compelling combination of size, speed, motor, awareness, technical proficiency in pass rushing and against the run. He's definitely demonstrated the ability to disrupt both the run and the pass. And starting in his early days, which was high school, at Bryan High School, he dominated both ways. And then he kind of focused on defense, where he compiled 136 tackles, 8 sacks in his final 2 seasons of high school. He earned first-team All-District 12-6A recognition and an All-American Bowl selection. He really displayed some raw potential, and it made him a 4-star recruit coming out of high school. I hope all of these facts are actually factual from what we've been able to find online. But my first question is, what were the early signs, for Nic that he wanted to play football and that he could potentially play at a much higher level, even starting with university ball?
Well, I always told that kid he was going to do something special. Had no idea he was going to be a football player. In his younger years, he wanted to be a basketball player, which he ended up being a very good basketball player also. But he started developing the love, I say, about his sophomore year, because he was kind of chubby in his freshman year. And I noticed he started working when no one else was looking. After practice, he started waking up early, started running. He started dedicating himself to his craft. And that's when I knew he was go, because he was so focused. He's always been a focused kid and a leader. The main thing about him, I always held him accountable for his little brother and his sister, because he was their leader. So every time they got in trouble, he was held accountable. And so I guess he accepted that role, and he take it and he wear it with pride. And he's always protected anyone smaller than him, because he's always been a big kid. He hates bullies.
Yeah, that's incredible that he takes on that responsibility at such a young age.
Yes, sir.
World is different today, and obviously, being a leader amongst your own siblings, it's important, right? And obviously, he's done a great job. I got to meet your family at the combine, and I have to say, man, what a wonderful family that you guys have there. Great conversation, just open. You guys were so welcoming, and I appreciated it. I really did. So, any challenges that Nic had to go through in high school? I mean, you had mentioned maybe some body size things early, but to become an athlete that he is today, I mean, everyone kind of goes through stuff. But is there anything he went through at a younger age that maybe kind of helped shape and mold him to be who he is today?
Yes, sir, most definitely. One of the biggest life events was when me and his mom separated in high school. It was a very emotionally, financially, and mentally taxing time. But it takes a village. And thanks to Lane and Sidney Boobin, they actually brought him in not only to their home, but into their heart. And to this
Mm.
day, I don't know if you met them at the combine, but they was there. They have been here for him every single step of the way. I think Miss Boobin missed one game this year, but everything else, she's out there in the sun, rocking wherever he is. They are. They are amazing people. And when you get good people in your life, you don't let them go. So that was a major hurdle for them, and they helped him through. Also, Mike Bellotti, his son Hunter played on the same team with him. He took Nic to camps. He's there. He was at the All Pro Day, the loudest in the building. Shout out to Mike, great guy, great guy. Yeah, it really takes a village. It's been a lot of people that has came in during Nic's journey and has been there and never left.
I think it shows in the type of individual that Nic is, which you've also enlightened me to when we were at the combine. I didn't get a chance to obviously meet the Boobins, right? I did come across the story yesterday, and I didn't really want to bring. I'm glad you brought it up because it is such an impactful story at a young age, and
Don't tell the story without telling it.
exactly, and I think that the more you know about Nic, it's Scourton, right? You pronounce the last name Scourton?
Scourton.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So the more you know about Nic Scourton, I think the more you fall in love with the guy as an individual first, as a person, as a human being. What he does on the football field is just a blessing. I mean, that's just the added benefit and bonus of who he's going to become. So I can't wait to see what he does off the football field as he graduates through, the ranks of the NFL. So let's move into the college journey for a little bit here. Now, this journey began at Purdue. Now, he quickly established himself in, his freshman season, right? He had 22 tackles. And, I mean, it was a good start to his freshman year at Purdue, but then he exploded onto the national scene in 23 as a sophomore. He led or tied the Big Ten season sack record with 10 sacks. He earned a second-team All-Big Ten recognition for this outstanding sophomore season at Purdue. I want to throw a few names out there. So the likes of these players that were in this 2023 season, Joe Evans also had 10 sacks from Iowa. He's now playing in his sixth season in Iowa. He's holding himself back to play an extra season the last I read. Jerzon Newton, dominant defensive tackle from Illinois, had 8 sacks, drafted first round of 2024. Adisa Isaac, probably better known as Chop Robinson's right-hand man, but I love Adisa Isaac's work. He's from Penn State, had 8 sacks in that same year. He was a third-round pick. And then Jalen Harrell, University of Michigan defensive end, he had 6 sacks in 2023. And then Jack Sawyer, another big name in this year's draft, Ohio State University defensive end, he also had 6 sacks, that season. So what Nic was able to do, it wasn't easy. And the fact that he's going up against, some of these other dominant football defenses and players that can put up big numbers, he did it. And I would like to know, again, I start with the challenges because whatever he faced, going through high school and entering Purdue, and that was just, first stop. What happened at Purdue that I guess could have been a challenge that he maybe overcame? And why the move to Texas A&M after Purdue, after such a big season?
Well, I can't mention Purdue without mentioning Coach Hagan,
Mm.
who was the coach his freshman year. That's who recruited him. That's the only person that saw his talent. The only one that offered him a Power 5 offer. Shout out to Coach Hagan out in Louisville now. Amazing man. It put a chip on Nick's shoulder.
I bet.
And he played with that chip, and he just don't, and he just loves football, and he loves to compete. The bigger the spot, the bigger the lights, the brighter he goes shine. If you go back to his Purdue games, all the big games he showed up. Sophomore year, Michigan #1 line in the nation,
Yep.
national champions. Man, he kept JJ McCarty on skates all day long.
He did.
2 sacks, I don't know how many tackles. Illinois game saving sack at the end of the game. He was the team captain as a sophomore. Because man, this kid is the second youngest kid coming out this draft, but I guarantee he's the most mature. Cause struggle and strife builds character. And that's one thing, this kid has a lot of character and a lot of fight in it. That's why Detroit would be a perfect landing, because Dan Campbell is actually one of my favorite coaches. Because if it's 4th and 3, 4th and 4, no matter where it's at on the field, you don't know what he's about to do. Yes.
Well, you know, more importantly, Dan, I think he's all about the character. He's all about your mettle being tested, and it's the leaders of men, right? So Nick being a young leader, of a football team was a sophomore, right?
Yes, sir.
Being a team captain that young, and the fact that you just mentioned something I didn't know. I didn't know that Nick was the second youngest player coming into this draft.
Second youngest kid coming in this draft, so he's always the youngest kid in the locker room.
Did he have You have a summer birthday?
August the 25th.
Yeah, so just like me, I had a summer birthday, so I felt like about a half a year behind other kids, you know.
Yes, sir.
My growth spurt didn't happen until after high school, but
yes, sir. And that's the scary thing, Will. This kid may just have one more spurt in him.
Right. But he's big enough the way he is right now. But man, if he continues to grow the way that he has, I think it's gonna be fun to watch, man. I'm super excited.
So much. Like if you've seen his pro day, he's like lightning fast.
Well, I watched the videos you sent, and I appreciate that. So Thursday night you sent a couple of videos, which we'll talk about it in a moment. But that really highlighted that burst that I needed to see, and I'll get into that in just a moment. But I want to ask you a question about
back to Purdue, because that was your question.
I got a question on Purdue about the football IQ and why he was more successful at Purdue versus Texas A&M with the sacks, and this was enlightening to me, man. So please share away.
Purdue basically let him off the leash. He has such a high IQ. If you notice in those Purdue games, the longer the game progressed, the more plays he made, because they trusted what he saw. They would ask him, "What do you want to run?" "I want to slant left, coach," or "slant right, coach." And it always ended with a big play. His IQ, he's a student of the game. He knows his adversary. Like football is really this kid's life. Nothing trumps it. Right now, he's chomping at the bits to get back on the field. He's so ready to get this process over with so he can get back to doing what he loved to do. Attack.
It's a long process. It seems like it's a long process that happens in such a short window of time. But you guys have got to be just like every day you wake up and it feels like it's just dragging a little bit. I don't know. You tell me, how does it feel every day?
To be honest, to him maybe, but to me, coming where we came from, all I can do is continue to thank the Lord and for these blessings and savor every moment. But that's an age thing.
Yeah.
When you're young, you're eager and ready to go. When you get older, you slow down and you savor every moment. And but this kid, he's just ready to go. He's ready to go be great.
I agree with that, and I can't wait to watch it. So let's talk about Texas A&M for a moment here.
Sir.
So he transfers after a huge year at Purdue, 10 sacks, right? Transfers back home to Texas.
Sir.
2024 season. He's now facing what many consider, now he faced an elite offensive line at U of M, but at the SEC level, they've always been considered the elite competition generally, considered to have deeper, more talented pools of offensive linemen. Oh, I apologize. Was that me or you? Particularly at the top end, right? So he's gone up against some of the best at the SEC level in 2024. Now, a few notes from his season, his debut for the Aggies against Notre Dame: 3 tackles and a sack. He was consistently making impactful plays throughout the season, including a game-sealing strip sack against Arkansas. And then in Missouri, 2.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks. It's fair to say that he always seemed to show up. And in a defense that we were just kind of highlighting, like Purdue, you said, let him off the leash. Purdue would listen to what he wanted to do and kind of gave him carte blanche, if you will, of, hey, if you see something that can work, go for it.
So
A little bit different at Texas A&M. So I guess explain the differences. And I guess let me preface it by saying this. The word on the street, if you will, a lot of analysts talk, right? We all talk way too much. But a lot of analysts saying, well, why didn't Nic show up with more than 5 sacks? Well, did they forget that he had 14 tackles for loss? I mean, that's pretty much a sack. It's just not a QB. Matter of fact, I think tackles for loss are more important than a sack at times. At least it's showing that you're getting into the backfield, right? You're reading the run game. You're executing the play at a high level. But explain a little bit here why the defense was maybe prohibitive at Texas A&M, or maybe not so much prohibitive, but different scheme, different setup here.
It's 2 sides to every coin. People see less sacks, less production, but I see a team player, a kid that's willing to play within the system. Coach Elko, the reason we ended up at Texas A&M, because I'm gonna be honest, I was salty that they didn't recruit him to begin with, and Nic wanted to go visit them first, and also Lane and Sydney are that's their alma mater, so it also meant something to them also.
Oh,
So
wow.
we're all sitting in the office with Mike Elko, and I'm gonna tell you, Mike Elko sold me. I believed in him. Like, the man has a plan, and watch how A&M culture is slowly turning and changing, and I guarantee they're gonna be a dominant program in these next upcoming years, because the man has a plan and a vision, and he's a very smart guy. But the system set the edge, read more. That's why the tackles for loss are their quick reaction, lock out, block out, make the play. Where Purdue was more just fly, So it was more the system, I believe, and the kid played within the system. And you notice the defense looked like a machine when everybody was doing their job correctly. But I don't see the drop in production. I just seen a kid that was a team player and played within the system. He didn't try to do more than what he was supposed to do.
And I think that's what matters, right? I mean, he played within the scheme. He was doing what he was asked to do. He wasn't freelancing, which can tend to get a lot of football players in trouble.
Yes,
So
sir.
his junior season, 2024, he was named first team All-SEC. He was a finalist for the Lott Impact Trophy. He was a semifinalist for the Lombardi Award and the Chuck Benardic Award. I probably butchered that name. He earned the second team All-American honors from the Walter Camp Football Foundation. He was also named defensive MVP, which I feel is the most important one, by his own football team at the award show.
Yes, sir.
His peers obviously think highly of him. And there's a few really great athletes coming out of Texas A&M in this draft this season. So what I noticed from Purdue is they seem to utilize the single and a 2-gap system, which obviously you can fire in a single gap. 2 gaps, you're kind of restricted. But at Texas A&M, it utilized more of a 4-down nickel base, odd spacing. They kind of canceled out the B gaps, counter offensive blocking schemes, and they also often paired that with like a 3-buzz weak rotation. So I can understand that he's more setting the edge, and he's really good. I think he's one of the best in this draft at setting the edge.
Sir.
He dropped a lot of weight from his last football game of the season to the combine. Can you explain about how much weight he dropped, why he did it, and can he go back up in weight to play the bigger end size?
Um, um, it's our genetics. Um, he wanted to get faster, lighter. He got him a dietitian, and he molded his body. He went from a kid's body to a man's body. If you see him with his shirt off, he's more chiseled and more defined. Just when you think that you got this kid figured out, he does something else greater. And he's quicker, he's lighter, he could play inside. And actually, he motivated me. He was so fired up. I seen him at the combine. He got on me, Pops, you got to get your health in order. So after the combine, I've been eating healthy. I'm down 40 pounds since the combine.
Man, nice work.
On
Nice work.
30, we can put on 40 in a matter of months. Me, him, and his younger brother. It's just our genetics, how we bathe. Yeah, so if he could beef up, he could get back to 285, no problem if asked.
Well, I think that's a key thing for fans. Obviously, NFL analysts, they know this, right? The scouts, they seen it, they know it. He was doing all this at 285, 279, kind of somewhere in between there. At the pro day, he showed up at what, 257 ish, right?
Yes, sir.
So you drop almost 30 pounds, and you could see the intent with the way that he was moving in the pro day the other day. Man, he has it.
Quick feet and
Yeah.
extremely violent hands. That's the only way I can explain it.
Let's
Quick
talk.
feet, extremely violent hands.
Let's talk about those violent hands for just a second. So at the combine, I forget your other son's name. Nate. So talking with Nate and we're having great conversations, and he mentioned something. He's like, "Yeah, me and Nick will box from time to time." So Nate's a boxer, and I thought, wow, now it makes sense. Now I see where that straight right hand punch is coming from. I get it now.
Yes,
I
sir.
wish that more defensive ends would take on a little bit more MMA, boxing, whatever, to help with their hand fighting. Nick obviously has taken full advantage of this. So explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, it started when they were younger. Like I say, we moved to Bryan College Station when they were 4 and 5. And the apartment complex that we moved in, it was like a lot of kids. And a lot of those kids were relatives in different aspects. And you know how kids are. They go out, they play. I used to go out with them and throw the football and stuff with them. And they would play for a while and then they would fight. So they had to earn their right to be there. So like that first 6 months, year there, man, they were hand-to-hand combat every day with the other kids. It's more funny to me than anything because boys are gonna be boys.
Right.
So it was harmless, and a lot of those guys are still their best friends to this day. And he was always interested in boxing, so he took boxing classes. So they would get out there in the yard and they just box. And Fat Mac is way bigger than Nate, but Nate is so quick and agile. He just be dodging and we. But yeah, Nick, he's really nice from the shoulders.
Yeah, he definitely has that quickness. I mean, he fires off so quick. And when he was doing one of the bag drills, I forget the name of the bag drill right now, but the way that he slaps those bags, it is so vicious, and it is so needed, obviously, at the position that he plays. So, Nick getting prepared for the next level. Again, we had some more really great conversation at the combine, and specifically talking about, which I didn't even think about this, like these kids have now changed with the NIL money. So one of the conversations you had mentioned how well prepared Nick was for the next level, and specifically talking about the NIL and how it didn't change him. So could you explain to the fans, and I guess anyone else that sees this later, about where Nick maybe came from, or how or why he stayed true to who he is, who he was, and always will be, and maybe he's just built a little bit different to handle the pressure at the next level?
Yes, sir. This kid got his NIL money. I told him, enjoy your NIL money. Man, this kid helped everyone. He never changed. He used his NIL money to get subscriptions to places called Hot Works, the sauna places, in different aspects to take care of his body. He he may be buy clothes, but other than that, he's at home playing his game or watching tape. NIL money didn't change anything about him. He doesn't care about things like that. He's the quickest to tell you, pops, this stuff could all go away. This ain't what matters. People matter. I coached a youth basketball team a year ago, and he was so excited. He's like, Pop, that's how you do it. You know, he's all about giving back. He's one of the most unselfish persons I know. And I know it's coming from a father. So a lot of people like, well, that's his dad. Of course he's gonna say that. But no, if you ask the community, they will tell you. Anything that Nic is asked to do, he's gonna show up. He's gonna donate and he's gonna be present. And he loves kids. It was just last week he called me like, Pops, I need you to come get my dog. He got a dog, Lily. I need you to pick her up. I got lunch with these kids. He was picking up lunch from Wings and More. That's one of our favorite restaurants in this town. Best wings ever.
Good stuff.
And he was grabbing lunch to head to the school to have lunch with them.
It's so inspiring, man. At a young age, he's the second youngest draftee for the NFL draft in 25, and you're talking about a young. I mean, let's just be real. I mean, he's an adult, but I mean, he's still kind of like a kid, right? And he's doing things for other people first, which, you know, I don't even want to throw it this direction, but my main focus is others first with the Rockhound Cancer Foundation. That's our main focus. We want to put others first. And it sounds like Nic he's already been doing that. And that's the exact type of mentality that the NFL needs more of, and more great human beings that are great football players on the field and great humans off the field. And it sounds like he is the embodiment of just that.
Yes, sir. You know, it's easy to do the right thing when everyone is looking.
Oh, yeah.
A test of a man is when you're doing the right thing when no one's looking.
Exactly.
And that's Nic. Like, I promise you, like, it's not a kid that he sees he don't stop and talk to, hug, pictures, whatever. Man, this kid is, I tell him all the time, I say, man, you're a way better man than me. He like, no, Pops, you're a great man. Well, that just tells you how great of a man you are.
Yeah.
You know, because like, I can't stress it enough, because these are things that can't be taught. This was God's plan, and he's walking in it. And that's the long and the short of it. It's God's plan, and he's walking in it.
Well, he's walking it, living it, eating it, breathing it. But you mentioned a routine, which is also part of that. You said a few guys from Texas A&M are just dialed in. They're just different. You briefly mentioned that, you know, they play the game. He's watching tape. So what was his general routine at Texas A&M, you know, from the morning till he goes to bed? Like, he had a general routine that he pretty much every day.
Yes, sir. Every day, kid, he go get up, go to treatment, go to classes. Then, you know, you got meetings and you got practice. Then after, he may be making home maybe 8, 9. He's going to watch film, and then he's going to play his game. And that's it. That's his routine.
Well, you can't get in trouble doing that, and I think that was a very smart move for him to make sure that he stays focused on who he is, right? And that's who he's been from the beginning. So let's get into Nic's athletic ability a bit. I mean, this is what we're all excited about. Now, on Thursday night, you'd sent me a couple of videos. Nic looked great at the pro day. Shoes stayed on. Finally, that's kind of been this, you know, I guess inside joke, if you will. But he's been, huh?
He taped them on.
Yeah, that's funny. So at the combine, a lot of the guys had problems with their shoes. And I don't think that it devalued, obviously, his work at the combine like it didn't for anybody else. But for some of us like me, that I don't have all the access, you know, that the NFL teams do. So I need to see stuff like that, right? I need to see how they perform to kind of help me make my own little evaluation of where I think the player belongs, right? And where the hierarchy of the NFL draft. So Nic was seen chatting with multiple scouts. This has been reported by multiple articles, if you will, or like ESPN. I mean, many of these people have been talking about this. Kansas City Chiefs, Green Bay Packers. I could only imagine the Aggie tandem, right, of Edrin Cooper, the Nic Scourton. I mean, that's scary, right? That's I don't want that. I mean, as a selfish Lions fan, I want to see him in the Honolulu Blue, but let me my perspective has to stay in the middle here. So we didn't get to see the balance of the strength, speed, burst, quickness tests from the combine or the pro day. I understand that Nick doesn't put a ton of stock into the testing and more so emphasizes the tape, what I'm doing on the field, training in front of the coaches, which I agree with, 1,000%. I do. I feel like there is more value in the tape than anything else. But I just, like I said earlier, I have to see something to kind of help marry up the two together. So my first question here is, what can you tell us about his speed, his lateral quickness, his burst through the gaps and the pop off the line that, we can see it on tape, but we're there up close and personal, right? You see something different. So tell me what you see from him.
It's his reaction. It's his ability to see it before it happens, his visualization. The kid watches so much tape, he knows his opponent. So if you have any tells, any little nicks or necks that you do, any kind of hitch in your lineup, well, some linemen, they want to try to cheat this way or cheat that different way. Any little tell, he's going to catch it. And as the game goes on and progresses, he just reads these things, and his reaction is just amazing. I don't know. It's God-given. Like I say, this is God's plan. I can't explain it. It's just something that you can't teach. He just has it. Some people have it and some people don't. And at the point of attack, he refuses to lose. So, and he just has such a quick step and a violent burst with everything that he does.
That's I don't know of a lot of players that do this. I mean, I'm sure many do, but to study the tells of a lineman, when you see a lineman rocking one way or the other, that they're getting set up to do something. And based on what the game has been, all about already, whatever scheme they've been running, they could be setting up to run the outside zone. They could be setting up to run the inside zone. And by the, second or third possession, you may understand what this guy is giving you for the tell. And so I'm getting this vision right now that Nick is like thinking, okay, I see what you're doing. It's the first possession. I see what you're doing. And by the second quarter, he's already set him up.
Yes, sir.
He's setting them up to be able to, do his little combination of pass rush moves and get in there and get into the backfield. So that's extremely smart and savvy. And the guys that study tape, you can tell because they can go to the coach and say, hey, man, I see what he does on this play. I see what he does on that play. And guys like Dan Campbell that are going to ask you those questions in a meeting, he's prepared. He's prepared for it.
Yes, sir. Go watch the LSU game. Great OT, Will Campbell. They're battling.
Yes.
Because Nick had that date circled on his calendar.
It was a hell of a game.
Yes, sir. Will Campbell is that guy. And Nick showed, and that's the reason we came to the SEC, because he heard the talks, he heard the whispers. Can he compete in the SEC? Can he dominate in the SEC? And he came and he showed. So it's no question.
Yeah, I watched those highlights Thursday night, and won some, lost some. But I tell you what, Nick gave everything he had in that game, and you could tell that not every play was about getting in the backfield. It was more so of setting the guy up and making sure he closed off his edge.
Yes, sir.
So work ethic and discipline clearly not lacking for number 11, right? Does he want to stay number 11 at the next level? Is that important to him?
Man, that kid will take number 99.
Well, I think a lot of people would, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So at the combine, I also learned that we talked about this, about the boxing with his brother. Can you tell us a little bit about? Well, this is a question actually from Kevin Barr, one of the members. He says, "Who does Nick's game remind you of, and who does Nick model his game after? If there is someone that he looks forward either to working with at the next level, at the professional level, or someone that maybe he studies or has been studying." Over the last few seasons. What could you tell us about that? So who does his game remind you of? And does he try to model his game after anyone at all?
He has like a top 5 10 of elite pass rushers. And he takes a blend of everything, and he's made his game his own. I can't really think of one player and I'd be like, yeah, son, you just like him. I can't think of one player. He loves them all.
I think that's a great answer because I see. I'm not going to say it's the PC answer, but I think it's a great answer because there is so much that Nic does well.
Yes, sir.
That it shows up that you could see a little bit of, this guy, a little bit of that guy, and he does it well. So second question from a member, Mike P, says, Nic, Nikki, if you were to assess Nic's strongest skills, and as a future NFL player, what would they be and why? What are his strongest skills right now?
His leadership and his IQ.
Football IQ is big,
especially for such a young age. Like, he's gonna do nothing but get smarter and more dominant. It's just his ceiling is, man, he's just a baby. And he's a student of the game. Because without this can't do nothing.
Right.
And that's his strongest thing. And his willingness to be a team guy. He has no ego. Man, this kid should be walking around like he got a crown on his head. Man, if you didn't know who he was, you just wouldn't know who he was because he doesn't carry himself like that. He doesn't think he's better than anyone. He's ready to come into an organization and start at the bottom and work his way up. He says it all the time. Because you hear about Pops, I'm willing to carry pads.
Wow.
And that's his mentality.
Well, he might have to do a few things as a rookie, but I have a feeling that Nic's he's gonna do quite well. But I will say this, man, it makes you feel good, like you're doing something right. I mean, I got to give a lot of praise back to you and the family dynamic and where Nic is grown up and through, and the other family too that was part of his upbringing, earlier.
Credit, but it takes a village. Like I'm telling you, the Boots are amazing people. Mike Velotti, my wife, she's been in this kid's life for 10 years, and man, all these people love and care about Nic, and we're all here for it. His coach, his high school coach, Coach Rogers. Coach Rogers used to take time out and taught him how to play golf. He thinks he's a almost baby Tiger Woods.
And he plays golf too, man. What can he do? Well, I do know this. There's several teams that have been identified through this process as potential fits. Now, I would say all 32 teams are a potential fit for him. But the ones that have been highlighted the most recent reports say the Green Bay Packers, the Baltimore Ravens, the Detroit Lions are all mentioned as teams that value his skill set. The Kansas City Chiefs have shown interest with their defensive line coach, Joe Cullen, attending the Texas A&M's Pro Day to evaluate what he is as a football player. The Atlanta Falcons were projected by some analysts to also select Nic in the first round. Now, I will say that you want to go as high as you want, as high as you can in the draft. I mean, there's money implications and all of that, but I'm getting the sense that Nic wants the right fit. Yes. I'm not going to try to put you on the spot but I'm going to kind of put you on the spot a little bit. What is your favorite team right now? I know you grew up a Cowboys fan, but do you have a favorite team that, I mean, if you can't answer it, don't, you know what I mean? If you feel like if it's too difficult to answer, please don't.
No, it's not. It's actually an easy question.
Okay.
The Cowboys are not on that list. Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs, Detroit Lions. These are all teams that have that bring your lunch and we're prepared to work all day, blue collar.
Yeah.
Like type defense, and he would be the perfect fit, and he has somebody complimentary there. Kansas City, he'll be reunited with Kaloftis.
Mm-hmm.
Aiden Hutchinson in Detroit. The Baltimore Ravens, they just have an amazing offense where I know he's going to be in a situation where he's winning and he's also having many, many opportunities to just get after the quarterback.
Right.
These are all organizations with young, good talent that are going to be great for the near future, and I want him to go to a winning organization. The kid never really has been at just a dominant team, and I believe the pros is gonna be his opportunity to be with a dominant team, and his career is just gonna blossom.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I also get the idea here that, like you said earlier, Nick is willing to do whatever. And you made the comment at the combine too that Nick said that he's ready to put the work in, just like you said a minute ago, to do whatever any coach wants him to do. He's versatile. He has the coachability, the willingness to contribute any way he can, which obviously I view as a perfect attitude, you know, as you're entering a rookie season. And I think that kind of sets Nick apart from the rest to a degree, right? This is a deep, talented class of defensive linemen. Why should teams take Nick over another player right now?
The youth, the football IQ, and the desire to do whatever needs to be done to get the job done. Because a lot of time, great talent is voided by ego and selfishness. He's the most unselfish person I know. Whatever you ask him to do, he's gonna do it. He's humble, and he's just a locker room guy. He would have been the captain at A&M if he hadn't been a transfer, and they already had great leaders there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, sir, and he's just a locker room guy. I don't know anybody who has ran into Nick that doesn't love him. And that goes a long way for a team dynamics. You don't want a guy to come in and be a virus.
Absolutely not. I don't get that from Nick at all. I think that if anything, he's going to level up a room. And I also get the idea too that wherever Nick lands, whether it's a dominant football team or maybe a team that's struggling a little bit, I think that he's going to elevate that room.
Yes, sir. He leads from the front.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be vocal. He's gonna show you. He's gonna walk it more than he talk it.
I love it.
But don't get me wrong, he doesn't mind vocalizing.
So if you could share, have you heard of any upcoming meetings for Nick? I mean, we've got the top 30 visits. I know that the Lions met with him during the combine. Do you know what his schedule looks like over the next couple of weeks? Are you able to share any of that, or is that pretty tight to the vest?
No, it's not too tight. He got like 5 visits scheduled. He was at the Texans yesterday. Got Green Bay coming up. New England, just to name a couple. But and the Eagles, that's a biggie.
Oh boy.
Philly is also on my list. The fans are kind of woo, but yes, most definitely. I'll tell you, any organization with a good young quarterback, and I'm happy for him to go there, because I just don't want him to go to a team where I just want him to be with winners in a good environment. You know, that's all you ask for your kid.
Right.
Just to be in a good environment. And like the teams I named, they have a great culture going there.
Right. Yeah, I think the Lions definitely top the charts there when it comes to culture, and I think that they've set a high bar in the NFL, and they're well within their way. Now, Jared's not extremely young, but he's pretty good. Can you share? Yeah, can you share anything else about maybe what any scouts or coaches have said to you about where do you think where do you think Nick's going to end up in this draft? Is he projected first round still?
Yes, sir. Lower first round, mid second. He's the safe pick.
Yes, definitely.
I heard a Texan coach said that he's a safe pick. You know what you're gonna get.
Right.
You're gonna get a production guy. You're gonna get a guy that can actually play for you day one. And I guess the only question is, where is his ceiling?
Yep.
But he's so versatile, I don't see a ceiling for him. Because he's willing to do anything. Say you need a 3, he could beef up and go down there.
How's his coverage skills? So the reason why I asked that is dropping the weight that he dropped, down to like 257. Is he good at dropping in coverage? I mean, did he have to do a lot of that at Texas A&M?
At A&M, yes, sir. They dropped back. They had a defense where the edges kind of covered the flats area. He has excellent hands and great feet. So it won't be an issue to transition.
Yeah, I
Like
see him.
I
I
said,
still see him as a traditional 4-3 style, 4-2 defensive end, but I'm just wondering where he fits in a 3-4. If he would be a smaller end on a on the front line of a 3-4, but would he be able to drop into an outside linebacker role? That's something I really haven't evaluated yet. But
yes,
so
sir.
did you have an answer for that? I'm sorry.
Well, the Baltimore Ravens, they pulled him aside pro day just to run that linebacker drill.
Okay.
And I actually sent you a video of it.
Yep.
You seen it, how smooth and
Very smooth.
his work was. Yes, sir. So he's ready. That was one of his things. That's why he dropped down to get more lighter, agile. If asked to cover, he's ready.
Yeah, so that makes a ton of sense now that you think about it. You drop down, they know the weight that you can play at.
Yes, sir.
So if a team is thinking, all right, I'm going to put you into a 3-4 scheme, you're already at the weight. Let's just improve whatever we need to improve. But if you need to go back up in weight to be the big end or even a speed end, yeah, he can do that too, which is great. So personal growth. And then I got like maybe 2 or 3 more questions here. So coaching and mentorship, you've kind of walked through this a little bit. You've shared some memorable experiences with coaches and mentors that have played a significant role in Nic's path so far. At the very beginning of the show, high school coach, Purdue, obviously Texas A&M, the Boobin family, and of course your own family. But what impact is this going to have on Nic's career moving forward as a man?
As a man, he has been through so much that as a man he is battle tested mentally, because like I say, if the mind isn't there, you can have the best body in the world and nothing's gonna happen. He's ready for when times get rough. He's there to calm the ship. He's one of those type of guys. He's gonna be calm in the middle of the storm because he's battle tested, not in just on the football field, in real life situations. He's been there where things was hard, and he came out unfazed, and he kept going, because this kid could have went left and went right many times, but he stayed the course. Like I said, it was God's plan, and he stayed with it.
I love that. So the Lions last season, 15-2, but after week 6, they lose Aiden. And then they lose like another 16 defensive players to IR by week 18. When you have a guy that, a football player, an intelligent football player, coming in as a rookie that can calm those waters and be an impactful player and a rotational player, whatever he needs to be player, that's exactly the type of football player that I know that obviously Detroit's looking for. But he would have fit right in last season, on a team that was going through it, man. They were extended beyond the credit limit, and he would have fit perfectly, man. He really would have. Okay, so mentorship. Obviously, he's had some major impacts in his life. He's been through a lot. He obviously wants to do a lot. You mentioned it's important for him to kind of get back to the community. It'd be exciting to see what foundations that he gets involved in, or what he likes to do with his future, personal growth wise. You've obviously seen a ton out of Nic, growing from day one, but just staying level headed, and he's really managed to balance the academics, the social life, the football life, the college years, the young adult life, and now headed into an NFL draft where, man, everything's kind of coming fast and furious now, right? His family roots seem to be strong. You've got multiple roots. Like you said, it takes a village, right? It takes a community. And you guys have done an excellent job with that. I think that whoever gets Nic Scourton, number 11, is going to have a very impactful football player in many facets of the word. Last question for you is this, and then you can share whatever you want to share. But advice for young athletes. I'm sorry. Let me get to that one in just a minute. There was another member question. I apologize. And then we'll get to that last one. J-Rod asked, are there any other draft prospects or any other NFL football players, team members, that Nic works out with right now or has plans to work out with this summer?
Shamar Turner is his best friend.
Yeah.
5, and that is an amazing kid. Whoever gets that kid is getting a dog also.
Yeah.
But he worked out with Miles. He's worked out with Vaughn. Um, man, he will work out with anybody. He's a sponge. Anything that knowledge, he's available to soak it up. I know he would love to work out with Aiden Hutchinson. Um,
I would love to see Aiden working out, honestly.
that's his boy, Loftus.
We need to see him. Man, Karlaftis he is so impressive.
Now he is one of the most intelligent guys. Period. And yes, he's a great guy. And it's man, this kid, he just would like to get around anybody that's great.
Yeah, I love it.
And he loves to compete, to measure himself up against them.
So, advice for future young athletes and future athlete fathers of athletes. What advice would you give to the young athletes and their parents who aspire to reach the next stage? Maybe it's college, maybe it's the NFL. What lessons have you learned throughout Nic's journey, your journey, that could help others?
The main thing is to keep God first, always, and to be patient, and also trust in the people that was there before all the hype, because people are going to come out the woodworks. Financial advisors and agents and different aspects. So just take your time in your due diligence with these people. Like the agent process, we dealt with agents for like a year before we chose one.
Wow.
We got to know them, multiple dinners and different meetings. Just take your time, and just because it looks shiny, don't mean it. Don't take money from anybody.
Right.
That way you don't owe, and you're locked in with them in different things. But that's just the main thing to me, keeping God first, and taking this process slow and not getting overwhelmed, because it could get overwhelming at times, especially if you go to moving too fast with it. And that's about the main thing, and just trust in the Lord and take your time.
Keep the main thing. Obviously, stay who you are, right? You want to be you. You know, you try to be somebody else. Obviously, it doesn't work. And I think that Nic is obviously stayed, very true to who he is. I appreciate you coming on this morning. You've shared so much about Nic, his past, his future, his growth potential. It's going to be an exciting draft. I hope to be there on the first night to watch him. Get across that stage in day one. So I'll be thinking and ready for it, man. I'm excited. Hopefully he lands in Detroit, but that means they're probably going to have to move up, right? So,
sir.
Anything else you want to share for today?
And that's about it. We went over everything, Will, man. I appreciate you for having me on.
Well, I appreciate you for doing this. It was a chance meeting at the combine, and like I said, it was just a natural conversation. You can always tell when people are good people, man. And great family, amazing son, amazing athlete. I can't wait to see Nic in the future. So thank you so much for joining us this morning on the Rise and Grind Morning Show, Mr. Nic Scourton. We'll see you at the draft, I'm sure.
All right, thank you so much, Will.
All
Bye,
right,
Detroit.
All right, we'll see you. Take care.
Yes, sir.
Wow. What an impactful interview. I felt that was. I mean, we learned a lot. We learned a lot about Nic Scourton, the athlete. We learned a lot about the family dynamic. And I think that it really it matters, right? I think it matters to learn more, get a little bit deeper, a little bit more granular into where these guys come from. I think that we've watched over the last 4 seasons, especially with the Detroit Lions, that they're more about the football player as a human, right? Who they are as a person, as a leader in the community off the football field. You could teach someone football. They have the athletic ability. The one thing that I didn't touch on, which I wanted to, is this is about Nic today. It wasn't more so about, the rest of the Texas A&M football players, but he mentioned Shamar, and he's going to be an amazing athlete too. But the one thing that I've always the one thing that I gained in immediate conversation with Nicky is Nic has it from the shoulders up. He already has the physical attributes. He has the tools to succeed. But if you don't have it from the shoulder up, meaning the brain, you're likely not to succeed at your highest of levels later on. And he has it. He's rooted. He's calm, right? He manages life with purpose, and he's willing to reach out and be there for other people too. So great information this morning. Obviously, go back and clip it up and find the little nuggets in there. But appreciate you guys all joining me today, and hopefully we get some more fathers or athletes. Maybe Nic on at some point. Maybe we'll see. Hopefully, if he becomes a Detroit Lion, we'll be able to get an interview with him. But we've got about 28 days to wait until we know what's going to happen. But anyway, appreciate you guys. Hope you have a good rest of your Saturday. We'll probably see you a little bit later. As far as tape, Gina, yeah, we'll cover some things. Check the tape. That's right, says Kevin Barr. Check the tape. You got to watch his tape. Go watch his highlights. You'll see the natural ability of this guy. I'll upload the videos here to the YouTube page in the community post so you can see what I saw. I know I shared it in the Voxer chat, but I'll upload it in a post. You guys have a wonderful day. Go and probably go Detroit Lions. Go Nic Scourton, man. Can't wait to see you in the draft. Take care.
Yeah, 1 2 1 2.
Hey yo, AC.
1 2 1 2. Mic check. Hey, can y'all hear me out there? Hey. Against all odds. 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 Against all odds.